a very good morning to you at exactly 8 minutes past the hour of 10 here on Flow 94.9 FM, the Flow of God's own state. This is the platform, and this is welcoming you on the show. This morning on the platform, we will be looking at some issues affecting governance in our dear state, Abia. It is all about ensuring that Abia becomes one of the best states in the country. So welcome on board. My name is Ginika Oloha, and I have my guest already seated in the studio, Ferdinand Ekoma. He is a media aide to former Abia governorship candidate here in Abia State, talking about Dr. Alex Otti. Ferdinand, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Okay.
Mr. Ganeka,
Yeah.
my pleasure
Yeah,
joining you on the program.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, I want us to start this way. I understand that there was a press statement which you signed for your principal, Dr. Alex Otti, where you made some appeals to the governor. Let's talk about that. What prompted this at this point in time?
Well, the press statement, which was an appeal, was prompted by the same problems you and I know, and that's the problem of the non-payment of salaries and pension arrears. And of course, the obvious grounding of our key institutions in Abia State. So we called on the government of Abia State, led by Dr. Kezi Kwasu. Dr. Alex Otti sent out his appeal to him to halt the decay and the deterioration being witnessed in these institutions. We made reference to some of those institutions, like Abia State University Teaching Hospital, ABSUT, Aba, where workers are being owed 22 months salary arrears. And of course, they decided they're on strike at the moment. Nothing is happening there. Lectures are not going on. Staff are not working. Patients are not being treated. Those who have been treated in the hospital have been thrown out because nothing is happening there. And of course, you know what that means. And then Abia State Polytechnic Aba, where workers are being owed at this moment 32 months salary arrears. Even though they are not officially on strike, of course they had been on strike on several occasions, but at the moment they are not on strike. But I can authoritatively tell you that nothing is happening there. Lectures are not going on.
Why do you say nothing is? If they are not actually on strike, of course, there should be academic activity.
There was a subtle appeal to them not to embark on strike. And now they decided to put the strike on hold and watch the government to take the necessary actions. And of course, you know how the government behaves. You know, the more you look, the less you see. No attention was paid to them. The exams they were supposed to have started didn't start. Nothing is happening there. That's the fact. And it's verifiable. So we make reference to empirical data whenever we are talking about things that are happening in Abia State. Nothing is happening there. We also made reference to the issue of pension arrears. And of course, the governor had made repeated promises starting from 2017, 2018, 2019, just countless occasions of what he was going to do, starting from the moment they received the bailout fund and the Paris Club refunds. So nothing is happening there. So that was just the foundation of the press statement, the appeal made by Dr. Alex Otti.
When you listen to some government officials, especially the Commissioner for Information, I think he pointed out the fact that all the ministries under the purview of the Abia State government, they are up to date in terms of salaries. But when you talk about parastatals, like you just raised the issue of Abia Poly and the rest of them, they said or rather, the heads of these parastatals should be held responsible because they are supposed to generate money for themselves and also pay their workers. That government is only supposed to be giving them a kind of subvention. So will you now still blame the state government on this?
Mr. Ganeka, you work with Flow FM. If Flow FM today collapses, do you think that the people out there would hold you responsible for the collapse of Flow FM? The answer is no. You've got a GM here, you've got the director, you've got the owners, people who are in charge, who laid the foundation, who established this institution. ABSUT is a state government institution. For example, you have FM Soma here. I have a friend whose younger brother was ill. He was supposed to be admitted because he resided in Abia. He was supposed to be admitted at Absut, but because Absut was shut down, the guy was transferred to FMC, and everywhere FMC is jam-packed because those are government institutions that are giving subventions to enable them not just to pay worker salaries, but to subsidize whatever they charge patients. Okay, to make health, this is accessible to people, to innocent and ordinary citizens. So when you abandon your responsibility and resort to bulk passing, you have the parastatals, the ministries. The truth is that what is the sense of your workforce if you remove these key parastatals? Why is federal government paying staff of FMC? Why are they paying staff of Bakalokba University of Agriculture? Why?
Probably because they are making money.
Why is Abia state government not the state government that receives monthly allocation from federal government? So what if federal government decides to withhold the allocation of Abia? Has our allocation, any month of allocation, been ever withheld by the federal government? So these things are very simple. These institutions were in existence before Governor Kesi Ikpasu came on board. And these institutions would outlive him. So if you destroy these institutions and begin to give flimsy excuses of they are being parastatals and people like that, you are like the chief regulator. You are expected to supervise the activities of holistic supervision of these institutions. But because you do not know what you're doing, because you are not interested in prioritizing,
will you be right to say that the governor does not know what he's saying? Don't you find it derogatory?
When you know what to do and you do not want to do it, or you are not doing it right, it means you don't know what you're doing. These things are simple. We are not like them that resort to defamation. What we are discussing here are issues. And we are talking about human beings. These people that are being owed, these people that are being annihilated subtly are human beings, are Abians. They are serving our people. They are expected to serve our people. Because those people who are supposed to be treated at Absut are not being treated, they are human beings. Those students who are supposed to be taught at Absut and are not being taught as students, they are human beings. Those staff of those institutions that are supposed to be paid, they are human beings. If there are people that are found wanting in the discharge of their duties and responsibilities in those institutions, you set up the necessary mechanism in place to checkmate the activities, to identify their failure and give them the necessary punishment. That is how it's done.
Okay,
so when you fail in your responsibilities, don't go about giving flimsy excuses that do not impact on governance. Our people are suffering, and this thing must be halted.
Okay, now let's talk about the workers in those parastatals. Those are Abians, of course. They're Abians, and we are talking about the high rate of unemployment all over the country. So, and Abia is having their own fair share. Now, if we are talking about the workers, is it that people are not supposed to be working there, or are you saying that they are overbloated workforce there, making it very impossible for the heads of these parastatals to pay salaries?
Well, you see, a lot of funny things happen in Abia. But the truth is that we cannot be taking a lot of things at the same time. Because if we begin to take a lot of issues against the government at the same time, they will also accuse us of trying to distract them. You know how long, when Abia State Civil Service Commission was reconstituted, you knew how long it took the state government to reconstitute the Civil Service Commission after it was dissolved. You knew how long it took them. And within the same period, people were still being employed through the back door, illegally. A lot of people. I'm talking facts, my brother. Now, the same government that employs people will turn back to shout, the civil service is overbloated. You intentionally employ people you know you're not going to pay, you abandon them, you do a lot of funny things, and turn back and begin to cry. For example, when Dr. Kesi Ikpasu's government came on board, they set up different committees. They said they were carrying out biometric exercise to find out those who are ghost workers and legitimate workers. It took them more than 1 year to conclude. After doing all those things, yet at this moment, you are still complaining, giving excuses. You can't pay workers. What are we talking about, my brother? You received bailout fund, huge billions of naira bailout fund. You received Paris Club refunds, running into several billions. You have been receiving your statutory monthly allocations. If you go to the 17 local governments, use my own local government of Bende. as an example. Is anything happening there? Wood has overtaken that place. The infrastructures are decayed. Nothing is happening. Why? Because these local governments are not allowed to access the funds that come into them.
But they have elected officials who are supposed to be
through the so-called joint accounts now, they are denied what is statutorily due to them. So when you do these things, we know what happens. And most of these rural areas, most of these local governments are getting decayed. So this is systematic destruction of our institutions. Those are the things we are saying. So Alex Otti's press statement was a simple appeal that was not done to undermine anybody, that was not done to vilify anybody. Of course, nobody was vilified. So when the governor sent his commissioner for information to abuse Alex Otti, and we are used to all those things. You should know now. It didn't start today. But has abusing Alex Otti, insulting him, defaming him, has it? What has it brought to you? What have you benefited from it? We expect you to perform. We expect you to serve the people. Yes, abuse Alex Otti and perform and serve the people. Pay pensioners, pay workers, develop the state. Look at home here. By 8 p.m., everybody has gone to sleep. The economy is systematically shut down. That is what it means. Because once people go to sleep, no transactions occur again.
Is it the fault of the state government? This one you just mentioned.
When you move around Umuahia, where are the basic infrastructures in place? Look at the roads. Just look at Umuahia Road. Look at the small capital city. It's still not opened, still not developed. And in the same city, you don't pay workers, you don't pay pension. So what do you want them to spend? If I patronize you, if I patronize Flow FM, Geneka Oloha will be paid as and when due. The management will have the resources to pay you. And when they pay you, you go out there at the junction there to patronize that woman that is selling restaurant there, that has a restaurant there. You go out there to patronize the person that has a boutique there. It's simple. This is simple arithmetic. That is simple economic arithmetic.
Okay.
Pay workers you can pay. The state is sinking. These people now that are in charge, ask how many of them that have their investments here, because they have crippled the states. They have underdeveloped Umuahia. So when they indulge in all the things they do and make money, take the resources that belong to the state, they still run to Owerri, they still run to Port Harcourt, they still run to Lagos to go and invest. So why are they not investing in Umuahia? Because they know that the investment will not give them the requisite returns. That's the truth.
Okay, I really do not want us to deviate. Let's just stay on the issue. Now, you mentioned the issue of some routes. Let's go to Abia. I listened to the press conference organized by the Commissioner for Information here in Abia State. He said Abia Fox Road, Ungwa, Bohe roads, all of them will soon receive attention, very soon. And that they will revisit those roads and they will come back to life. So I don't know if you raise it in your press statement, the one that you actually signed on behalf of your principal. Is it not a cheering news for us?
Well, we have had countless assurances, but in the end, these assurances do not see the light of the day. Let me give you an example. On January 1st, 2018, Governor Kezi Ikpeazu said, and I quote, "Work has commenced on Port Harcourt Road in Abia. This road is designed to have 6 lanes with a dedicated BRT lane for bus transit on the stretch of the road. The road will be completed in the next 18 months. This was a broadcast, the New Year broadcast of the governor on January 1st, 2018. Governor Kezi Ikpeazu assured that the road will be completed in 18 months.
Are you saying nothing has been done?
And today, this is 47th month. 47 going to the 48th month. And go to Port Harcourt Road. Don't forget that buildings that did not even encroach on the roads were destroyed. There was sorrow, there was anguish, there was frustration at Port Harcourt Road. If you know the road in question, if you know where Port Harcourt Road is, massive destruction. I mean, buildings, 3-story buildings, 2-story buildings, those that did not encroach on the road. I know I'm talking with facts, and these things are verifiable. Senseless destruction. So after doing all these things, people can drive through Port Harcourt Road. I'm not saying they've not completed. Nothing serious has been done there. all the investment, all the properties at the Crystal Park area, those axes that used to be highbrow areas then in Aba, they have all been destroyed. Economic activities have completely been annihilated there, destroyed completely, because the governor has never, for once, kept to any of his promises. Not one, not on any occasion. These are facts.
Is it not better you give him the benefit of the doubt?
Well, the man has less than 2 years to serve as governor of Abia State, and that is why, if there were people who were keeping quiet, they should wake up from their slumber, because everybody is a victim of the misgovernance that is ravaging Abia State. Some people were trivializing these issues and are beginning to wake up to realities of what we were saying from the onset. For example, now, when Dr. Otti issued his appeal, they said, because election is by the corner. That tells you how ridiculous some of these people are. About 3 months or thereabout after the 2019 election, Otti carried out a war press conference where he identified the challenges of the states and a lot of things that were happening, and how the governor was borrowing, and the need for the governor not to plunge the state into destructive debt crisis. I said just about 3 months or thereabout after the 2019 election. Otti has continued to do that, and by the grace of God, Otti succeeded in stopping them from accessing that particular loan that they wanted to do, because of course it would have been going by the debts we have now at hand, which there is no solution, there is no road, there is no route of escape for everybody in Abia State, because we are heavily indebted, and they are still owing more. In the next few weeks or thereabout, they are going to receive another 18 billion naira.
Another
loan.
Ferdinand, just hold on a bit. We are talking about these roads. You talked about Port Harcourt Road, and I know Fox Road, Ungwa Road, all of them are bad. But don't you think it's because of lack of funds? You just mentioned that we are indebted and the rest of them. What if the government says there's no money to do all this?
What does the state want? What does the government want? First, like I said, you have received billions, and these are statistics. These are available facts that are verifiable. Okay.
Where are you getting your figure?
Coming. Because they have never disputed what I'm telling you now. So you can call the man you said is the commissioner for information. Call him here.
No, I did not say he is the commissioner for information.
Okay. I would wish he would really inform people and not disinform them. Who is not informed, properly informed, is disinformed or deformed. So he's deforming our people through his disinformation, because of course he has proven that we can't waste our time on him anyway.
We are talking about the government may not have money to address this.
The resources. I've told you, they came on board. They were giving bailout funds. You are aware of it. That's not disputed. While there, they received 3 tranches of Paris Club refund, and they've not repaid 1 naira. Refund is refund. That one is not loan. Refund. That's refunded by the federal government. Remember that the Paris Club refund were excess deductions done on states that had loans, previous loans, owed the international community and all the rest of them, of course. So that was why during the tenure of former Governor Oji Okalo, there was monthly deductions on our allocations, costs of the loan taken by former Governor Sam Mbakwe while we were still in old Imo State. But the beautiful thing about it, Mbakwe used his own loans to build infrastructure, build critical institutions, and develop the then Imo State. So these people have received all these funds. They have received monthly allocations as and when due. Nobody has taken that away from them. They have internally generated revenues. Then the question is, if we are still talking about paucity of fund, the question is, have they told you that funds are responsible for their non-performance? Because I'm giving you statistics, which they have never denied. So there is nothing on ground to justify the utilization of those funds. That's what we are talking about. They can come here and abuse and insult, but please, after your abuses, after your insults and defamation and blackmail, do well, do Abians a word of good, a word of favor by proving to them the things you have done with these funds. That is just what we need. That's no other thing. We're not saying you shouldn't insult. Go ahead and insult, but provide evidence to substantiate your claims of performance. The Fox Road, did they tell you that it's because of funds that the Fox Road collapsed? a 4.6 kilometer road, you said you awarded at the cost of 6.8 billion. You made reference to your job at the erosion control job at Ifobara. Now Ifobara has become a massive disaster that has destroyed people's houses, people's homes, people's facilities. Ifobara has destroyed because it was poorly executed. And Fox Road has collapsed because you did a poor job. After inflating the contract, it can best be described as criminal inflation. Because if you say you are building a 4.6 kilometer road at the cost of 6.8 billion, that means you are building a kilometer at over 1 point something billion, over 1 billion. Now you claim that it's not just the road, the Ifobara. Now I'm telling you, Gineka, that the so-called Ifobara flood control is a disaster. It has collapsed. For example, if you listened to the Mr. Chikamnayo, he said that they opened Fox Road, that because they instigated the tile sellers to beg the government to open the road for them to be doing. So you would have shut down Fox Road for how many years? Meanwhile, they had previously claimed that they opened Fox Road so that the federal government, the president, could drive through Fox Road to access the power plants they built there. That was the initial claim. Now it is Alex Otti, the instigated tile sellers, to come on.
Now, well, Ferdinand, you've highlighted some issues here, and many people will believe with you that we have issues in Abia State. But as an opposition party, your principal, Dr. Alex Otti, has been, giving, pointing out the ills within the state and the rest of them. What will be his advice? Has he ever reached out to the government and said, it's all about Abia State? Why don't we do it this way? Why don't we do it? Because that's why when some government officials will say that it's only when it's time for election that your principal will come out just to attack the government. What advice have you given this government to make sure that the state move forward?
First, Alex Otti is an Abian, a full-blooded Abian for that matter. If there's anybody who can say he's 100% Abian, he is qualified to be addressed as 100% Abian by many reasons. Alex Otti, as a corporate man, invested in Abia, and the facts are there. Alex Otti built branches of his financial institution, starting from First Bank as an executive director in First Bank. He built a branch then in Arochukwu. He brought a branch in Abreba. He brought a branch in Isukwato. He brought branches in Aba. In Diamond Bank, the only rural branch of any bank in Nengwa land was built by Alex Otti. Diamond is standing. This is a fact. He employed dozens of Abians in those institutions. As a private individual, he has used his contact and connection to attract road projects in Abia State through the NDDC, solidly executed. That was why when I want to move from somewhere so that you be clear on these things. So that was why about 2 years ago or so, when Governor Kezi Ikpeazu set up a committee to investigate NDDC projects in Abia, Alex Otti issued a release, and that I think that committee was chaired by Bishop Sondonoha.
Okay.
Alex Otti
on NDDC, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Alex Otti issued a release commending the governor, and as a fact, he was excited for the fact that somebody, a repeated citizen, respected citizen like Bishop Sondonoha, was asked to chair the committee. Alex Otti said it was necessary for that to be done, that because a lot of Abians had gotten contract from NDDC and people will need to see those projects executed. Today, have you heard anything about that committee again? Have you heard anything about that committee again?
I'm sure they must have submitted their report.
For more than 2 years now, and nobody heard anything. So I'm telling you, Alex Otti has pedigree and he has character. He executed all the projects he attracted, verifiable. He executed in Arochukwu places. He executed in Isukwato. He executed in Isalangwa North and South. These are facts. These are verifiable. So, as an individual, he has shown great example. He has a scholarship scheme. And I didn't come here to discuss Alex Otti or his giant strats. He's not a loud voice. He's not a noisemaker. He's not a showman. Everybody knows that. He's a corporate guru, a respected citizen within and outside this country. That's a fact. But because of the question you asked me, I needed to come from this direction. His scholarship is the most organized scholarship scheme. Most organized. So that you know if you're benefiting 1 naira, you know that it's sustainable. The sustainability is guaranteed. It's something that will stand the test of time. It's not a fraud. It's not a politically motivated scholarship scheme. It was, in fact, the one that was hosted in Umuahia last year was sponsored by a financial institution. They paid for the drinks and the food that was eaten there, everything that were taken there. They paid for it. So that is who he is. Now, talking about advice, you do not need to be an appointee of the governor to advise him. And that's why on many occasions when Alex Otti issued releases, he had made appeals to the governor, just like this one that he did a few days ago. So what's the response? What was the governor supposed to do?
Did you go through it the right channel? You know, dropping it on the Facebook and the rest of it. Is that the best way to do it?
Excuse me, for Christ's sake. Well, this is not a secret court. Government is not a secret court. We made reference to facts and figures. And these things are simple. For the fact that the governor was not abused, was not insulted, was not blackmailed. So the governor didn't need anybody to hide the letter and send it through DHL and to him before. If we did, people will still say, hey, he never said anything. He saw what was happening. He didn't call the governor to order. So he made an appeal, a humble appeal, a fact-based appeal to the governor. And what did we get in return? He sent one Chikaminayo to come and abuse him, insult him, blackmail him. So have we moved by that round thing? We are not moved now. We have seen people like him in the past. He will end his abuse, and the day he's sacked, he will become hungry again and move from pillar to post.
We are not really discussing about the Commissioner for Information. We are looking at the best ways, to move the state forward. And I'm just asking, so it's not all about creating opposition. Fine, it's good, but then again, when you criticize, you also create a platform for the person you are criticizing to make a headway, to move the state forward. It's all about everything.
Exactly, and that is why, if they were here to serve, what they would have done, they would have gone through the release and respond with facts and figures and said, no, absolute, we are not owing absolute. Look at this, look at it. For example, Mr. Genekoloha, the National Association of Resident Doctors had, of course we made reference to that in that release, they had threatened on their own, this is an independent body. It was the National that said they were going to shut down the institution, that they were wondering the kind of doctors that will be produced there if the institution continues the way it's going. That because staff are not being paid. That when you don't pay people, how do you expect them to teach? What type of doctors are they going to produce? That was what they said, that they were going to shut down the institution. It's very simple. Was it Alex Otti that said it? So why didn't they begin to attack Nart?
Alex Otti is a well-respected Abian, like you pointed out. But I'm just wondering, in that press statement you released, did he offer any specific advice? Just tell us one, Ferdinand.
The advice was that you should pay pensioners. That's an advice. Pay them. A worker deserves his wage. Pay workers. Those pensioners worked and retired, and they deserve to be paid. Because you know the policy in civil service. If these pensioners die, will they still receive those pension arrears? They won't receive them any longer. So if somebody worked for you and you refuse to pay him and he dies, what do? Maybe you go through the bank door and claim their entitlements. Is that not criminal? Pay teachers, pay workers. These are people, our institutions will not be affected, lives will not be affected. Is it not an advice? What type of advice again do you want to be giving?
Okay, if you're just joining us, I've been speaking with Ferdinand Ekoma, the media aide to the former Abia governorship candidate here in Abia State, talking about Dr. Alex Otti, and we have been talking about the issues affecting governance in Abia State and the best way to move the state forward. The show is still the platform here on Flow 94.9 FM. It's time for us to open the phone lines so you can actually make your own contribution on the show. The numbers to call are 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. There's also the SMS line where you can send your messages, and it is 090-651-08289. This is the platform, the pinnacle of all discussion. Hello, good morning.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you very well.
Have a wonderful morning.
Good morning.
My name is Komeman Okawok. I'm calling from Abia.
Good morning, sir.
Do it here.
They were one of my brother.
Let me quickly enlighten myself what one Moko, what he said there. The truth of the matter is this: all of us, we are Abians. And it's clear that Abia has changed. There's no two ways about it. And I want to tell people one thing. The Commission for Information He's trying to make window dressing.
Comrade. Hello, comrade. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, sir.
We are really discussing about the issues on the best way to move the state forward. We talked about the issue of non-payment of salaries to workers, pensioners, and some routes in Abia. Please address this issue. That's what we're talking about.
Thank you. Like one Moko said there, the way to go is governing by the pay worker, pay the pensioners. Come to Abba, no road here. Nothing to show. Human capital development is zero. If you can come here, which we know he will not do, what they are playing is pool. Pump trap from 4, that's what they are doing. Let me tell you again, whether you like it or not, others are tired of this government because they have subject. Come to Mumba land, what Okezi say is from. Come there and see what is happening. These people have they have
Okay.
their son.
All right.
In another step polytechnic, he looks like a graveyard.
Okay.
Trying to tell me, the government have fair for hopefully.
Okay. Thank you so much, comrade, for your contributions. Keep those calls coming. The numbers to call are 080-8182-6949 or 08116052949. Hello. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Keneka.
Good morning. Welcome.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Yeah, I am Pastor Sandy Carlo Emato, and I'm calling from Umahoro, Umahim, Omogoro, Umvasi, Isialambasa, the government area.
Okay. Go
What
ahead.
I want to say is that Hade Safety, I think he has been trying, and what he says concerning Nadia State is true. But the only thing that the government should do is to look into it and see how they can be able to solve the problem, because the masses are suffering. And coming to say that Abia State doesn't have any institution in Abia State, for me, I disagree with them. But my younger sister today is a staff of former development now Access Bank. She did, and she depends on me, also Alex Sophie. What has somebody said that Alex Sophie doesn't have an answer about anything, and they living to that fact. And that my younger sister is still living today. So what am I trying to say is, Abia and our governor do the right thing so that at the end of your tenure, people will see the need or the reason to say that you did well.
Okay.
For anybody to say that Alex Otti is coming out during the election time, I disagree with that. But Alex Otti has been talking. So let them agree with what you say and solve the problem.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hello. Good morning.
Hello, good morning, Ginika.
Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Ferdinand. My name is Nelson Ike.
Morning, sir.
From Mumbai.
Welcome, Sir Ike.
Good morning. Yes, it's very, very important that you try to control this conversation to be narrowed down to solution and not polluting the entire policy with unnecessary comments.
So, Sir Ike, tell us, what's the solution?
The solution is that, like you rightly pointed out along the line, that there is need, for me, there is need for all the stakeholders to come together and sit one-on-one with the governor. And know where to assist him in where areas where he's not getting it right. We have so many loopholes, and those loopholes must be controlled. I personally would not want to accept any excuse that has to do with the loopholes are not leaking. We have a lot of loopholes, especially in our internally generated revenue. People are doing much, are losing much from our revenue, and the governor personally has to do something to protect those loopholes so that he'll be able to manage the needed resources and provide the needed dividends. But the truth is that while oppositions are criticizing him, they should also be good enough or come out plainly to also encourage him on the areas he has done well, especially in the SMEs and the other infrastructural development that he has brought. Nobody should tell me the governor have not done most major good roads in Abia State. Many of them are there. So let them come clear, come with the governor, discuss one-on-one and give him all the needed suggestions and see how it will go. But we will continue to have the needed peace we have in this state. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you so much, Sir Ike. Hello? Okay, now, Ferdinand, you heard what our last caller said on the issue of SMEs. If you actually, your principal is also pointing out those areas where the governor has failed, to improve. It's also good for you to look at those areas he has also improved on. Take, for instance, the issue of the SMEs, small micro enterprise, especially the ones we have in Abia. Like just last week, I think the Senate President was here to commission that Abia shoe factory. What do you think?
Well, first and foremost, it is not our responsibilities to seek the praises of a government, especially a government that has many appointees to do the job. All you need to do is to inform people of what you're doing. We have eyes, we have ears, we see, we hear, we move around our environment, and anybody who says that Abba has gotten up to 10% of what he has got, he should get. That means that person is not at home with the facts on ground. In the first place, if you make such a laudable initiative, it should be built in, to be at the level that whoever sees it will be appreciative for what you have done. We'll see, okay, this is worthy of being called state institution, state investment, or whatever. But when you go there and see what is there, just wouldn't want to appear like armchair critics. But when you look at what is there, then you ask yourself, is this worthy of being called state government institution when compared with the resources that are accruable to this state? For example, you look at the Fox Road. There was an issue we raised where the traditional ruler was pulled from his palace to Abia Poli to go and confer the man with a chieftaincy task. It was intentional. It's because Fox Road is not motorable, and they didn't want to take the Senate President through that road. If it was for the purpose of space, and it would have been done at Sacred Heart, where the traditional ruler had always used to do such events that are beyond his palace. They know what they are doing. So the government, we're not telling you the government has never done anything. No, now, nobody would say that. But what we are saying is what the government doing, what worthy of being referenced? Is it worthy of being compared with what the state government has gotten in terms of revenue? That's what we are saying. Anybody can come and scratch. Even his predecessors also did something. But the question is, did they do well? They didn't do well. It's very simple.
Okay,
that's what we are saying.
All right, let's take some calls. Hello?
Hello, Jenica, good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
And good morning, our guest.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is Radio Senator calling from Government College, Omoya.
Go ahead.
And yes, Jenica, I would have loved if you asked those of federal university lecturer, why should they go on strike? Why should they ask President Muhammadu Buhari, federal government, to pay their salary? I would have loved you to ask them that, because you are asking us if the parastatals does not or do not belong to the state government. The truth still remains that the budget of the year always contains the workers' emolument, and which comprises both that of the parastatal and the ministry. It is not only the ministry. And when you say that, we are talking about the money which have been earmarked for the parastatal to be given to them. And not giving them bit by bit. If you do not give them full money, they cannot pay. That convention you are talking about is the salary of the workers. And not only that, both promotion of the workers is always provided by the state government. So it is the responsibility of the state government to pay them. The salary belongs to the state government to pay. That convention, if it is not paid, it is not the management for crying it loud. Management has nothing. If you like, put an end there. If you deprive them of the money that is due for them, you didn't give them that money, they can't pay. So government service is owing. The secondary school teachers are being owed for 18 months as I'm talking to you now. Leave allowances for 16 years have not been paid. What are we talking about? And the people come here to talk about the federal government. Look at the state government has not done what it's supposed to do.
Okay.
So the problem of the state government is no payment of salaries of the workers and that of the retirees. So he should endeavor to do that. That's where he has a large complaint. Because what if government is when the people are happy? When the people are not happy, the government is irrelevant. That is the truth. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Radio Senator from Umuahia. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, welcome.
Yeah, good morning, my honorable.
Good morning, sir. You're welcome to the program.
Yeah, I'm Kenneth. I'm calling from Asia Mosa.
Dennis?
Yeah, Kenneth, calling from Asia Mosa.
Okay, kindly speak up a bit. Go ahead.
Yeah. I want.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to react on the issue on ground, not paying state workers, especially those in the parastatals. There's something about this government and this administration I just discovered. When they are being criticized, they tend to flare up, rendering an abusive word. I went through a lot of write-ups, a lot of articles, how this thing doesn't work. As far as I'm concerned, Alex Otti made an appeal. It was an appeal. So it doesn't really call for political or media fog of war. Everybody was just shouting. And nobody has come out to say that, yes, look at it rationally. Look at what the man has said and say, okay, this is what we have done, this is what is in the pipeline, this is what we are going to achieve. Everybody is just shouting. I'm really disappointed on the Commissioner for Information to be sincere and to be on the factual side.
Okay.
So I really commend Dr. Alex Otti for coming out to say such a. Let me tell you one thing. Those around the government, those around the governors will not tell him the truth. There is no time they will tell him the truth. So it is somebody outside there, maybe in the opposition side, who come out with the facts and say, man, I appeal that you do this. And I love the way he did it. It was an appeal. He did not insult the governor. He did not say anything.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much for calling. Okay, now let's go over to our SMS line. This one is coming from Ben. Ben said, good morning. In addition to bailout fund, the bailout fund, the Paris fund of 15 billion naira budget support fund was given to Abia state government to help pay salary and pension in 2016. Okay, thank you, Ben. Kano Uzomba from Isukwata said, truth is bitter, but it cannot be buried. When government agents insult the indigents, what do we call it? One day, they will leave the seat and history will either vindicate or indict them. Kano, thank you so much for your text. Okay, this one said, Duncan said, good morning. The worst thing that the governor did was to appoint, Okay. Thank you.
Read what he said.
No, when you start insulting, well, of course, we don't encourage that. Okay, Habike from Akoli said, I love this program. Thank you so much and keep listening. Okay, let's see if we can take some calls. Then, Ferdinand, I'll come back to you. Hello?
Good morning, Geneka.
Good morning.
Good morning, my honorable man in the studio. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir, my brother. You're welcome to the program.
I remain Mr. Prince Swagу from Chobo. My question is this, my brother.
Okay.
I'm grateful that once critics is the unpaid guidance on one soul, criticizing a particular government will give them room to correct themselves. But my brother, listen very well. When greeting has passed the Igbo in Igbo, you know what it means?
Sure.
It means that it's a fight. Is it not crossing Igbo greeting the governor of Abia State by telling us that at this administration, they are not coming out telling us all this kind of developing or not developing, and they're not paying pensioners? Is it not politically motivated for you?
Okay. Let me, as odd as the question sounds, but let me respond to you, my brother. Like I told you, whoever wants to politicize it is free, but we can't keep quiet, even if you are not pleased by what we are saying. As long as what we are saying are facts, and they meet the demand and expectations of the people, we will definitely say them. Because if you were in the shoes of those who are being owed, who are being denied their entitlements, I'm sure you would have understood better. We started this from the onset, with or without election, and this is 2021, and you are talking about election. Election is in 2023. That's the truth. So I'm surprised somebody is making reference to election. And like I said earlier, even after the 2019 election, we continue to the battle. Alex Otti does not live permanently in Abia State, even though he hails from Abia State. Alex Otti does not live in Abia. Most of these roads, most of these pensioners, Alex Otti is not a victim, direct victim of all these things. But as a citizen, as an illustrious son of Abia, as somebody who feels ashamed to be said, he comes from Abia and this thing is happening, that is why he has taken the mantle of challenging the ills that are ravaging Abia State. And he will continue to do it. And you and I should see it as our own obligations It's not only Alex Otti that talks. There are other, committed Abia men and women who are also raising their voices in condemnation of what is happening in Abia. In the southeast, presently we have serious security challenges, and you and I know this. And whether anybody likes it or not, the foundation of these challenges are eternal misgovernance. Misgovernance at home. We're not telling you we don't have challenges coming from the federal. We are not telling you we do not have external oppression or aggression coming out there. But the truth is that the foundation is at home, because the governors who receive allocations, they have internally generated revenue, they have all the derivation funds, they assess grants from different parts of the world, and yet you can't use these funds to develop your people. What did Mbakwe have when Mbakwe did what he did in all the Imo states? Massive development. What personal property did Mbakwe leave behind? Today, I'm talking with facts. I know some of his children. I know what Mbakwe has on ground. What he did in Abia. Go to Imo and see the institutions built by Mbakwe. They are still standing. So what is difficult about people presently doing the same thing? And you have young men you knew yesterday that didn't have anything. Automatically they are becoming billionaires overnight at the expense of you and I. If motor accident occurs there as a result of bad road, it does not separate who comes from where, who belongs to which political party. If you become sick today and you don't have state government owned hospital where you can be given subsidized treatment and all the rest of them, you will die, and that health challenges won't know whether you belong to PDP, APC, ABDA, or you come from any local government. So people should begin to be altruistic in the discussion of these key issues affecting everybody. Just like Alex Otti made reference in that his appeal, during the period of the COVID-19 lockdown, a lot of people died in Abia State, including high-profile individuals. Some of those people were not killed by COVID-19. Some of them had their medical record, medical history abroad. So they used to go on annual medical vacation. But during that period, they could not access it because of the global lockdown. And we do not have any standard medical facility to attend to their needs. And most of them died. So that is what we are warning. You and I could become victims tomorrow. So when we raise these issues and call on the government to carry out its responsibilities, people must desist from trivializing them. Very important.
Okay, let's take our final call and we'll leave the studio. Hello, good morning. Hello? Hello? Okay, you're not ready for us. Okay, Ferdinand, I think it's time for us to leave the studio. But quickly, let me read this final SMS from Ubina Inumwa. He said, which other advice do you want to position to give a governor that is working with 31 commissioners and over 200 SSAs and SSAs? Okay, do you know the last time primary and secondary school received a penny in the name of salary? Thank you so much, Obina, for texting it. Okay, sincere thanks to you, Ferdinand Ekoma, the media aide to Dr. Alex Otti for coming on the show.
We are still appealing, and we hope the government should listen to appeal. It's a humble appeal. We have brought that, so very important for everybody to understand. We are not at war with anybody. And the way we issue the release, we did not intend to insult anyone because government will come to an end. And unfortunately, most of the people who are shouting, defending the governor, they will abandon him and deny him. So we are the ones helping the governor by telling him the truth. And I hope he will listen to the truth. On
the sidelines, before you leave, is your principal warming up for 2023 governorship position again?
When the time comes.
Okay, I thought the time is now because politicians have started doing one or two calculations.
When they, just like Alex Otti will say, he's on a journey until he gets to his destination. Of course, he will keep going.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ferdinand Ekoma, for coming on the show once again. And to all of you who listen, who called in, who send in your SMS, thank you so much. The show returns on Monday at 10 a.m. And of course, I stood in for Michael Oni, the pinnacle himself, and I wish him quick recovery. And sincere thanks to the guys behind the camera, Stanko, and to the producer, Samson Eze. My name is Ginika Olwaha. I'll see you again next week. Good morning.